You're tuned in to Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk, live every weekday on the Nation Network YouTube.
Welcome in, Oilers Nation every day, live from the Sports Closet studio. We have a game against the Kraken to fill you in on, and we got some injury news when it comes to the Oilers. But first, let's get into the lead. The lead is brought to you by our friends at Soho Yeg. Check them out, sohoyeg.com. Huge 100-inch screen. You can watch the game on it every time. Or maybe if you're heading down to Ice District tonight, you can go grab a big old pizza before the game. That sounds like a good plan. We're going to talk about the Oilers. We're going to talk about the Kraken. We're going to talk about all of that. But actually, first, Jay, and welcome back to the show, by the way. Hope you had a great time off.
Yeah, I had a nice ski weekend. I've come back with a horrendous cough. So if I'm coughing on this show, I apologize, but I feel fine. It's just a bad cough.
Just a bad cough.
Skier's cough, as I like to call it.
Absolutely. I actually wanted to start with a story that's not hockey related, but is more of a global or bigger sports story. And that's what happened last night in the Buffalo Bills game with Demar Hamlin. Frank Saravalli was talking about it today. It was the lead story on Daily Faceoff Live. Chris Pronger came out and shared the video of when this happened to him, which I didn't even know that happened. That is like a part of NHL history I was not aware even existed. When Chris Pronger was hit in the chest with a puck and collapsed as well, it was more or less the same thing from what we've heard. The recent statement is that Demar Hamlin's still in critical condition, but that's something that's like never happened before on a football field, to see a guy get hit and collapse like that. Were you watching the game at all? Like, that was a frightening
well,
hour.
I was bouncing between the World Junior game and the football game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I flipped back and all of a sudden, like, it kept being ads, or then they went to the sideline and you saw the coach and he looked really distraught. I'm like, something bad happened. And then I went right to Twitter, and Twitter's a great source of news, and was able to get it right up to speed on what happened. Even unfortunately saw a clip of the hit.
Yeah.
But like, man, football's a crazy sport, man. Like, it's like these got these crazy big helmets. Like, that was a crazy blow to the chest.
Yeah.
And I chatted to a buddy of mine who's a doctor, and he's like, he listed two things that could have been the outcome of that, and it's turning out that one of them is true. And it's just from that blunt force to the chest, about what the complications that can happen from that. But really praying for this guy to bounce back from that, because no one wants to see that. The Bills organization's been flipped upside down. Football's been flipped upside down. Sport community's been flipped upside down. Everyone, that hit everyone in the fields just watching that, because like I said, it's more than just sports at that point, right? It's about life and death. So pretty crazy thing to see.
Yeah, the reason I wanted to start with it is just because, like, even in the hour after, like, we saw Connor McDavid score that ridiculous goal at the World Juniors, and I had usually I'd be out of my seat jumping around at something like that, and in the moment it was like, man, it's hard to get excited about sports when you just watch that happening. It's hard to sit here today, and for me at least, like, talk about the Oilers, and we're going to talk about like some trade targets, and again, that Hamlin moment was just such a like head shaking like reminder and a sobering reminder of like, oh man, these athletes are just everyday people doing this kind of stuff. And when they're going out, they're doing this for our entertainment and also to earn a living. I understand that, like, they're putting themselves in danger every day. And that Hamlin thing still kind of has me a little bit shook up. Like I said, the Bills still listing him in critical condition right now. He's in Cincinnati. And the other thing too, is you mentioned Twitter, and I just thought Twitter was in such a weird spot last night, because everyone wanted to jump down the throat of the NFL. And I found that to be incredibly puzzling. Everyone was jumping down the throat of Skip Bayless as well, even though what he said was basically just, how does the NFL move on from this? The results, the playoff race, everything seems so small when something like that happens. And it felt like everyone was being so negative, and no one was talking about how the first responders, the medical staff on site, the protocol that the NFL has, and they saved a guy's life on the field. And I know he's still in critical condition, but I just wanted to acknowledge, like, that is a miracle that they are able to get out there as fast as they can. And again, save a guy's life as he lays there on the grass. I just wanted to, and I know that kind of stuff happens in everyday life, and first responders, they deserve a hat tip for a lot that they've gone through over the last couple of years. But in that moment, I just felt like everyone was glossing over the fact that, like, there were people who rushed onto the field and saved a guy's life. That was incredible.
Legitimately.
That's not like an exaggeration or anything. Like, he was not breathing. The CPR took 9 minutes.
It's a matter of seconds. If there's seconds later, it's literally life or death. It's crazy.
It was, and I just felt like not a lot of people last night wanted to be negative about this whole story and yell about the NFL not caring and everything like that. But I just felt like that was the protocols in place saved a guy's life. And I felt like that needed to be said. And again, we're hoping for the best when it comes to Demar Hamlin and the entire Bills community. Let's take just a really hard transition here and go into the hockey side of things. The Oilers are in action tonight. We haven't had a chance to hear your take on the loss to Winnipeg, which I chalked it up on the last show to to me, they got goalied.
They got goalied, but it's I don't think we were creating enough either. It was just a weird game. We did enough to stay in it, obviously, but we didn't do enough to win. But yeah, Hellebuck played good, but once again, they've got a Vezina caliber goalie, so that just shows you how you can steal a game. But I also was like watching it, not feeling like the Oilers were going to win the game either.
Really?
No.
Oh man, when Yamo hit that bar late, I thought that
that stunk. Oh. That thing, I know that that obviously got me excited, but I was just sitting there just watching. I had a tough time getting like, there's times where you watch them play and they're down and you're like, oh yeah, like they're winning this game still. It doesn't matter. And I was not feeling it.
They went 0 for 5 on the power play, and that does not happen very often when it comes to our Edmonton Oilers. And it just felt like when they got, I think they had 2 looks in the third. It was like, okay, they're 0 for 3. Like, they'll get one here. They don't go 0 for 4. Then they go for 4, and then they get the 5th one. You're like, okay, they're off. But I think it also showed that they missed Leon Draisaitl in that hockey game.
If Dry was there, then they're probably 1 for 5 or 2 for 5. Yep. That is the difference of the game right there.
Yeah. And Rusty points out there were a couple of the post hit as well. So again, McDavid rang one off early. Klim Kostin had a great look, even though he scored one. Yamamoto hit the post. So that just happens. Peter says there was no life in the building against the Jets. And yeah, I mean,
New Year's, like, it was supposed to be like amped up. That translated on the screen. Like, if someone was watching it, like, I was on vacation, so I was super amped up. It was New Year's Eve, like, obviously having a few beers. Like, I was ready for a great game. It just kind of didn't hit.
Deskar says the PP looked so bad without Leon Draisaitl. Flute says Hellebuck owns the Oilers. It's just how it is. We are going to shift from what happened in the last week to a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. Sherwood Ford and their mobile service center. You reached the wrong way, I think. Eh?
I know. Okay. I like the hand motion.
Okay. All right. Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day. Check them out at Sherwood Ford on Twitter, Sherwood Ford the Giant on Instagram. Their mobile service center is top notch. It's fantastic. We're also going to bring in our guy Liam, because Liam, big part of your role here is establishing our like goal, and we've gone back-to-back shows without hitting one. Ooh, so that's not great. We're streaming live on the Nation Network YouTube. What's the like goal? We're at 24 already, but don't let that affect. We need to just set a good goal today.
Shall we just do a nice even 60? Feels reachable. I think that's what we've got to try and achieve today. Is just get there. Get over the line.
Get over the line.
Let's just start on a good note.
Get out there and get the job done. Maybe that's what the Oilers need to do today, but there you have it. Our like goal today is 60. The YouTube chat for right now is buzzing because the Detroit Red Wings have placed Jacob Vrana on waivers. That's interesting. His cap hit is massive.
Yeah, he's expensive.
He spent a good chunk of this season in the NHL Player Assistance Program as well. He has a history of scoring a lot of goals, though. 13 in 26 games last year. The year before that, he had 19 goals in 50 games. Like, this is a dude who, for flashes of his career, has looked like he could potentially be a 30-goal guy, but he struggled to stay in the lineup for a handful of reasons. He struggled to stay healthy in years past as well. $5.25 million. That probably makes it a non-starter, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Oilers would literally just have to trade for him to move money to even acquire him, so they can't afford him on the waivers. But I mean, why wouldn't Arizona take a shot at that guy, right? What trade was he part of?
He was part of the Mantha. Oh, sorry, it was 2 separate trades, but he was connected
to the Mantha.
Caps did 2 big trades with Detroit, and it was Vrana for pick, or was it?
It was all one deal.
Or was it all one deal?
Yeah, it was
Vrana, Mantha.
It was Vrana, Panic, and a first.
They had to get rid of Panic.
And a second for Mantha. So it was quite the. That skier's cough is going to get you. It'll get you.
Lingering.
But anyways, it was a deal. Yeah, Vrana and a whole bunch of assets for Anthony Mantha. Now Vrana's on waivers. Yeah, I agree. If you're in the YouTube chat kind of wondering, if it could work, I know Tyler Mulick is saying McLeod, Vrana, Kostin, third line. You just can't afford it. Dr. Gonzo pointed that out, 5.25. So unfortunately, non-starter for the Edmonton Oilers unless there's some sort of a deal where,
there's term left too.
There's right? One more year.
That's not so. If they're able to retain, they're able to take $3 million. We don't have the space. There's a lot that needs to happen to make that work.
Yeah,
half and Pugliarvi, and then some kind of pick, right?
Did you put that poll in there?
No. What was the poll?
Someone did a poll, and it's will Jay get Tyler sick before Vegas?
Oh.
Vegas is less than a week away. Shout out to our friends at
can't
AMA
wait.
Travel.
I cannot wait.
Oh, 9 days away exactly. I got a couple of buddies coming on the trip, and every morning I text them. I say 11 more days, 10 more days, 9 more days. Liam's got his visa figured out.
Yeah, I can legally leave the country and legally come back into the country,
that's very important.
That's the biggest one, coming back.
I
So,
couldn't sleep at night. I was waiting to make sure you got your visa, so I knew you were coming on the trip.
high end security took 20 minutes. So
We're also then going to be doing 2 shows from Vegas as well, so make sure you tune in to those. We're taking the Sports Closet studio on the road.
You can pack it up and take it anywhere.
Yeah, it's a state of mind. All right, Oilers Kraken tonight. Less than a week ago, the Oilers beat the wheels off the Seattle Kraken.
That was interesting, wasn't it? It was like we were playing. It was like a beer league game.
It started just like, I mean, that's their best start. I don't even remember a game where they've started better than that. Like, obviously, scoring 3 goals that early in a hockey game is great, but like, they did not let their foot off the gas. The shot clock got weird, and we talked about this last week on the show. The shot clock got weird because Seattle was shooting from the parking lot, and that's general score effects. But like, that was one of Edmonton's most dominant performances. And then I thought the game against Winnipeg was one of Edmonton's better losses. Like, I feel like the Oilers are starting to trend in the right direction. And if they want to cement that and prove it, they should go out tonight and probably beat the hell out of the Kraken again.
But if you're the Kraken, are you not like want to avenge what happened last week?
Yeah, they're
like, you got to think that they're going to come a little bit pissed off, and because like they were not themselves. Like, it's like a team's got to fold a bit to lose 7-2. 7-2?
It was, but part of it, like, their goaltending sucks, and that's not changing.
That's not going to change, but for some reason they can outscore their mistakes.
Yeah, they're coming off a 4-1 win over the New York Islanders on Sunday, but as of late, things have not been going really all that well for the Seattle Kraken. Only 4 wins in their last 10 games, and I know the Oilers also only have 4 wins in their last 2 games. These two teams are tied at 42 points apiece. It's also very important for the Oilers to keep winning this Pacific Division season series here. I've hit on this. I sound like a broken record, but like, a big reason why this team was so good last season is because they beat the Pacific Division a lot. They were very good against those 7 teams. This year, it hasn't necessarily been the case. The other thing, and this is one of my New Year's resolutions for the Oilers, last year you were so good at home. You're 9-10-1 at Rogers Place.
We gotta fix that.
I mean, last year it just felt like getting that last change was so huge for the Oilers. Yeah. They could win the matchups, and when the ball started rolling down the hill for them at Rogers Place, it really went, and they could just smother teams. And that, for whatever reason, hasn't been the case. Tonight is a good chance to check 2 big boxes, and it's get a win at home ice, get back to 500, and then also beat a divisional opponent. It's huge.
It is huge, and like I said, like, the Kraken are going to make it easy tonight. I can assure you.
They got pride, yeah.
They've got pride, and then we came in and embarrassed them in their home rink. So expect them to show up. So, we just have to. Do we have any updates on Leon?
We do. Liam?
He is available.
He is available. Leon is available tonight, according to head coach Jay Woodcroft. And that is not the only little bit of news. Klim Kostin, who we saw go down at the end of last game.
That looked like bad. I thought he was done for the year.
Yeah.
I was honestly waking up the next morning. I was like, oh, Kostin went down. I was like, I'm going to open Twitter and see, like, it's ACL, MCL, 6 months. Like, he's done. And he posted that photo of him with Connor. He is ready to go. So there you go. Like, both those guys are good. And also, Evander Kane skated with the main group today at optional, was shooting pucks, was taking part in some skill drills as well. So we had heard reports that maybe Evander Kane was ahead of schedule. Turns out he might be way ahead of schedule. We might see Evander Kane.
Our trade deadline acquisition.
We might see Evander Kane by the end of January, which would be a huge boost for this team in their playoff hopes.
It is a huge boost.
They're calling him week to week.
We'll take that because it was
month to month before, wasn't it? So.
Yeah. So it kills the idea of what you wanted, which was to Kucherov him. But I would argue that getting Evander Kane back as quickly as you did is just as valuable as going out and getting another guy in terms of your playoff push. I don't know. It seems like
I want him back in the lineup right now because, like, we need help because, like, we are not going forwards. And obviously, as of late, we are playing a little bit better, but we need to rack up some wins. So if Kane can come back sooner, great. But this just makes the trade deadline a little bit even more complicated.
It does. And that's actually where I wanted to go next. It's a Sherwood 4 Giant game day. We're going to get to our keys to victory in a little bit and all of that. But Frank Saravalli today at Daily Faceoff released a brand new list of trade targets. And there are, sorry, it's not even out at Daily Faceoff yet. That is my bad. But he talked about it on Daily Faceoff Live.
Did you just break the news that
well, I mean,
Frank Saravalli?
It's out there. It's out there. Okay, sure. You know what? Here's the breaking news. It's not even up at dailyfaceoff.com, and we are giving you Frank Saravalli's brand new top 10 trade targets with exactly 2 months to go until the NHL trade deadline. Bo Horvat at 1, Patrick Kane at 2, Jacob Chychrun at 3, Meyer and Taves round out the top 5. Expected. We've heard about those guys a lot. Klingberg 6, Matthias Ekholm 7.
How old is Ekholm? Because
32.
Man, I love the type of defenseman he is. He's also a bit of a prick too, which
he is.
We need a little sandpaper in the back end.
32 years old, 3 more seasons after this one at $6.25 million. Matthias Ekholm would make a lot of sense for this Oilers team. He is a veteran left shot defense first guy, like you said. He's a little nasty as well, and I like that. But I look at the term, I look at the contract, I look at what it might cost, and I kind of go, I don't know if you can fit it in because Nashville's not keeping half of that.
Nope.
If he was a rental, I would say this guy would vault. If he had no more years left, he is top spot on my list as their best trade target. Yeah. The term, in my opinion, makes it a non-starter, similar to Verana almost.
Yeah, it's tough to. How do we 6.75 or 2.5
for Ekholm? 6.25.
That's a tough number to try to manipulate there, but there's always a way. It's just, what are you willing to do? Are we actually putting the chips in on the table this year? Because if you are, you figure it out.
Why didn't they just move him last year? Like, wasn't Ekholm like the big piece, and then they signed him to a 4-year deal?
He is in year 1 of this 4-year deal.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, it was an extension. Yeah, that's right. Crazy.
And honestly, you're right, Liam. Like, it would have made a lot of sense for, I think, David Poile to just sit there at last year's deadline and say, maybe a little retooling, but I think at that point, they were faced with, if you're going to trade Ekholm, then you probably trade Forsberg. Don't try to re-sign him. And they felt like going in. They ended up making the playoffs, and Saros got hurt. They got bounced in round 1. But now the thinking is, and Frank Saravalli will be on the show tomorrow to discuss all of this, the thinking is they have Yossi, McDonough, and Ekholm. Well, you're not moving Yossi, and you're not moving McDonough because you just got him. Let's see what Ekholm can get him. They want to offload an expensive D-man, maybe get some scoring help. I don't see this as a fit for the Oilers. To me, if he's being moved...
He is a fit for the Oilers.
On the ice.
Yes.
But contractually, with all the surrounding noise that comes with making a trade like this, I just don't understand how the Oilers can make it work. If they had an expensive contract up front that was easy to move out, then it would make a lot of sense, but it just can't. It just won't happen.
Yeah, no, I doubt it. I highly doubt it. But like, that is the archetype of defenseman that we desperately need on our blue line.
This offseason, I'd be tempted to go get him. If the cap goes up 3-some million and you have more wiggle room, then I'd be like, okay.
But he'll be traded by then.
If he really is available, he'll be traded by then. Dre is in, says this list for the entire NHL and not just the Oilers, isn't it? Yeah, if we're talking about Frank's trade targets list, it's his 10 most likely players kind of thing.
Well, the Oilers could use all those people, though.
But the Oilers could use a lot of those players. The other one, once again, on that list that I'll bring out is Anthony Duclair, who's sitting at 9 with a little asterisk next to his name because, once again, he's at 8. The Florida Panthers cannot afford to activate him off IR if Patrick Hornquist is also healthy. So they need to make a move. And the idea has been brought up of maybe you would even have to pay a team to take Anthony Duclair off your hands if you're that cap strapped and you're the Florida Panthers, or maybe you would have to move another piece. And that's what Frank said today. We'll get his takes on this tomorrow. But Radko Gudas is the name I want to look at in Florida. 2.5 mil, expiring contract. Florida is...
How old is Radko?
32.
Radko's a prick. I don't know if he's a good defenseman, but he plays mean.
I think he's a good D-man. He'd help you on your penalty kill. I think the play would be maybe call up Florida, get a little Radko Gudas deal done. They're moving a UFA, which they're probably moving on from anyways.
So what would a trade like that look like? They'd have to take... Who are they taking back from our end?
If they just keep half of them, you're almost fine. Like, you're almost fine, I should say. Like, maybe they have to take some sort of salary back. Because, again, Florida would be all about clearing up salary. So maybe they wouldn't even keep half. Maybe you got to make it a 3-way deal. maybe it's a situation where
A serious third team.
a third team comes in, gives you a pick for Puljujarvi. You take a later pick and flip it for Gudas. Now you have some extra ammo for the deadline with that Puljujarvi pick, and you already have Gudas. I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas, but Frank's trade targets list, there's a lot of names on there that would look real good on the Oilers. Jonathan Taves. Some people still wonder about John Klingberg, Vlad Gavrikov. Probably not Erik Karlsson. I don't think that's a deal that happens in season, but we'll get Frank's take on all this tomorrow. Jake says he's a right-handed D. Where does he fit? I think he could probably play the left side. It's not like moving the puck is his strong suit anyways. I wouldn't be too worried about him playing his offside. Joey says Duclair is an interesting look. Yeah, I think Duclair would be an interesting look. But again, you can only bring in an Anthony Duclair type if you're moving out some salary up front. And Florida's whole motivation behind trading him is to get salary taken out of their lineup. So you'd have to find a third team to take a Puljujarvi or a Fogel and make it work like that. But all of this to say, we'll have more trade talk tomorrow on the show when our NHL insider Frank Saravalli stops by. For today, it is a Sherwood Ford Giant game day, brought to you by Sherwood Ford the Giant. Let's get into the lines for tonight because, like we said, Leon Draisaitl expected to be back in the lineup for the Oilers. And if we're basing this off what we saw at the skate the other day, McDavid with Hyman and Puljujarvi, Draisaitl with Yamamoto and Fogel. That is the look of the top six right now. Puljujarvi actually feels like he might be starting to get going a little bit, which is a really encouraging sign. And I think Kyler Yamamoto could go on a heater as well. He hit that post. He was getting some power play time. I think both those guys are starting to trend in the right direction.
I would agree. Puljujarvi's had some really good looks as of late, and that's not by fluke. He's putting himself in a great place to be able to get these opportunities. He buried one against Seattle, right? And then he had a really good one against
Hellebuck robbed him with the glove.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And he had a good look against Calgary a couple weeks ago as well. So he's been buzzing. Just a matter of him scoring those chances, which is always an issue.
Yeah, they need to start going in because we need this depth scoring, if you will.
Yeah.
Yamo, I still always believe he's coming. Like, he plays with the heart of a lion, man. So I just feel like he's due. So yeah, I can agree with that. And I really like to see him get going because we need him to get going.
Peter says Jesse is not going. I would disagree a little bit. I think he's starting to play better than he was earlier in the season. He's starting to get going. I'm not saying this guy's on a heater because he hasn't scored very much, but like, I think I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if one of Puljujarvi or Yamamoto has a very, very good January. We're talking 8-9 goals maybe in the stretch of 12 to 15 games. Because we've seen it with these guys. When they get going,
they're streaky.
They're streaky. Like Puljujarvi at the beginning of last season was almost a point-a-game guy for a stretch. Yamamoto in the last couple months of the season last year was looking really good as well. I also want to draw some attention to the third line. Klim Kostin's playing unbelievable. This dude has won his way into the hearts of Oilers fans.
What's not to like about him?
I know. And then he even says in his post-game press conference, he got a bit of an ovation when he came out for the power play late in the game. And he said, I chuckled. I'm not 97. I'm 21. But he's playing great. Matthias Janmark, I like this guy. I was wrong about him too. You talked about how when he was in the American League, like him coming up could maybe be a bit of a spark. And I was kind of like, Matthias Janmark doesn't spark nothing. But him on that third line with Nugent-Hopkins, like that trio's working really well.
I agree. I still think Nuge should be your second line left winger, but the fact that they can create chemistry like that on the third line is actually very good as well. So happy to see it. And if there is some gel and that actually can be sustainable, well then, that just adds to us being a little bit deeper as a forward unit. So I'm down for it, man. Claim the dream. Claim the dream. What's not to like about him? We flipped an asset that wasn't going to make the roster into him, first round pedigree. And, he's so lovable. He's such a character. I'm sure he's a great, he's taking that forward with McDavid. Obviously, I think the team likes him. And he's starting to bury some of his chances. And the thing is he's creating chances and he's involved in putting himself in good places. So there's what's not to like about him? He drops the mitts from time to time. He throws the bodies. He's meat what we desperately need. So that's a huge win for us.
What do you do when Evander Kane's back? Someone was wondering that in the chat right now. I know Jake was saying for right now he'd swap Holloway and Janmark. I don't think you need to mess with that third line at all. I agree. Tyler Mulick was saying he wants to see more time for Holloway, but it's just not going to happen. Clearly, like Woodcroft doesn't want to do it. But when Evander Kane's back, he has a spot in the top six. How do you shuffle these lines to make it work? I think we might be getting to the point where Derek Ryan's lost his job to Matthias Janmark.
Yeah.
But are you worried about Derek Ryan making it through waivers?
He is so serviceable.
Some team in the playoffs who isn't as cap strapped as the Oilers might look at Derek Ryan and be like, yeah, we'll use that guy.
He is so serviceable. Very smart hockey player. Man, I hope that's not something that happens.
Tyler says Holloway can move to Bako when Kane is back, but we're into the same issue we were at the start of the year, where you can't afford both your $1 million or $1.1 million bottom sixers.
Why don't you waive Shore and just put?
Doesn't free up enough money.
Oh, because he's what, 750?
Yeah, he's 850.
850.
So I don't know.
Ryan's north of 1, right?
And so is Janmark. So you need to have one of them off your roster to free up the full 1.1 million of buried cap relief. So
yeah, you need Janmark.
Some people are saying Holloway goes to Bako. Yeah, probably, but like that doesn't free up enough money unless you're going to play with one less guy.
Does Ryan Murray's money count to anything right now?
Because he's on IR,
so that doesn't count, right?
But he's league minimum. So if you were to bury him, it's the same thing. You have to replace that guy on the roster, right?
But you could bury him and Shore.
But then you're running with no extras on your roster. I mean, you
could.
Did
it, right? What if you bury Shaw, Murray, and Hamlin? And then you have 1.5 in cap right now, so that's like 3 million there, right? You could probably figure it out.
I think you also have to send down one of Nemo or Broberg, whichever one you're not using.
Nemo.
Like, I think the only way to make it work, though, is to go like 12, 6, and 2 on your roster. Have 20 players on your roster. I don't know. I'll reach out to Hart from Puckpedia, or Original Poozar is going to hear this and send me a DM about potential ideas. So I'll have an answer for everyone on what could happen when Kane's back. But a lot of people saying you just got to trade Puljujarvi. And maybe that's all Holland is sitting on. Give Puljujarvi this month in the top 6 to regain some value.
That's probably what he's doing.
Yeah, it could be. And then hopefully see if some team's willing to finally give you a second-round pick for him and take his full salary off your hands. But I don't know. Peter says, hey, no Campbell banter. Do you go Campbell tonight or Skinner? I didn't hate Campbell's game against Winnipeg. I just didn't love it. He gave up 2 goals. That should have been enough to win. But that was also a game where you look at the other team's goalie stealing 1, and I look between Edmonton's crease and go, probably could have stopped at least one of those 2 you did let in. You probably could have got that game to OT, and you didn't. So,
and the only person who's stolen a game from us this season was Stuart Skinner.
Yep.
Against the Flames.
And he's done it twice against the Flames.
So I think you go back to Skinner.
I think I go back to Campbell tonight. I know that might sound a little hot takey because this is a big game. But who do you have coming up next again this weekend? Like Colorado's looming.
The Islanders come to town.
Yeah, the Islanders have been struggling to score. So yeah, okay, no, I go Skinner tonight, Campbell Thursday, Skinner Saturday. Seems like a good rotation. You're going to have to give Campbell some starts.
Yep.
But I could see tonight you want to get back in the win column. It's a Pacific Division game. Skinner would make a lot of sense. Let us know in the chat. Would you go with Stuart Skinner, or would you maybe switch it up and see if Jack Campbell can help you out? Rusty says Campbell, once again, not getting any run support. Yeah, I mean, if Yamamoto buries that one and they win it in OT, we're talking a lot differently about maybe the potential starting goaltender here tonight. Jake says in a divisional matchup, you got to go Skinner. Lance wonders why Skinner isn't getting more love for the Calder. One of my predictions, the article is up at Oilers Nation right now. We talked about it yesterday on the show with Connor Halley, was 2 of the 3 finalists for the Calder Trophy this year are going to be goalies.
Wow.
It'll be Matty Beniers, and then it'll be 2 of Skinner, Thompson, or Kochetkov.
Oh, yeah, I think Kochetkov is that guy.
He's nails, man. He's good.
Which is kind of funny because of how many high-end forwards have kind of come in this year. All like defensemen too, like Owen Power's in the league now.
Yeah, but
even Holloway, right? Like,
yeah, but it's basically Beniers is standing out. Like the guy who's second in league scoring is the guy in Arizona, Matias Maccelli. Anyways, yeah, a lot of people agreeing, saying it's a 4-point game. You got to play Stuart Skinner. Yeah, the only one who said Campbell was Smart Cowboy. Says Campbell needs some confidence. He's pretty smart. He's in the chat a lot. He knows we tune into the show. If you're watching on the Nation Network YouTube, hammer that like button. There's your lineup report for the Oilers. Opposite them tonight is going to be the Seattle Kraken. They roll into Rogers Place. It is the first game at Rogers Place in 2023. The top line, Matty Beniers with Jordan Eberle and Andre Burakovsky. In their last 5 games, none of those players have scored a goal. The big guns in Seattle struggling right now. Alex Wenberg with Jaden Schwartz and Jared McCann. Yanni Gourde with Oliver Bjorkstrand and Eli Tolvanen, who a lot of people wanted the Oilers to put a claim in on when he was on waivers a few weeks ago. Ryan Donato with Daniel Sprong and Brandon Tanev. That fourth line is producing like a first line, Jay. That trio has combined for 9 goals in their last 5 games, including one against the Oilers. Daniel Sprong found the back of the net.
Can shoot, man.
That was a sneaky good pickup by them. They had a really good offseason.
There's like 9 times we could have had Daniel Sprong as an Oiler. I'm not saying we want him, but the guy has got a legit shot.
On the blue line, Larson with Dunn, Alexiak with Schultz, who scored the other night, I think, and Susie with William Borgen. That's how, and hopefully future Oiler Carson Susie. If you'll keep winning these head-to-heads, Seattle might slide out of the playoff picture. You never know. Probably not. Starting between the pipes tonight is Martin Jones. He's coming off a good performance against the New York Islanders, stopping 18 of 19 shots in a winning effort. Before that, he allowed 4 goals on 27 shots against the Edmonton Oilers as he came in a relief appearance for Philip Grubauer. He's almost becoming their starter, which is wild because he is an .888 save percentage and a goals against average that is just a hair below 3. He's 15-5-3 on the year somehow, though, with an .888 save percentage. That's wild.
They have to regress at some point, these guys. Like, are they fake news? Are they not? Like, their goaltending is not going to improve.
Yeah. That's my take earlier in the year when they were off to such a good start and the goaltending was bad was, man, Seattle might be legit because if the offense starts to dip, the goaltending should go up. Like, Philip Grubauer is better than this. We believe Grubauer is better than this. And he's not. I don't think he's going to find his game because now it's been a year and a half of him just being rough for the Seattle Kraken. So I think Seattle might really start to slip out here. If you listened to the show last Friday, you would know my take on this. They're the luckiest team in the NHL in terms of shooting percentage, and there's a bit of a gap there too. At least there was last week. So I think this is a game where the Oilers, listen, you beat them in Seattle last week real bad. Now you have Leon Draisaitl. Now you're on home ice. All you need to do tonight, my Sherwood Ford giant key to victory, Jay, avoid the 10-bell mistakes. Just do not make any terrible turnovers.
We love to do that, though.
I know.
Our brand. And we got a line that hasn't scored in a long time.
Just don't make 10-bell mistakes, and you will win this hockey game. You won't get outplayed by the Kraken if you just bring, like, your B-level effort tonight. And don't make any terrible mistakes. Don't give them a gift. The holiday season's done. If you play mistake-free, decent hockey, you're winning tonight. Giant key to victory. Totally agree. So my giant key to victory, I agree with yours, of course, is let's just play the math game. Their goalies stink. They got sub-9 save percentage, which is also what we're used to as Oilers fans. So just like shell the goalie. They're going to go in. Volume shooting, volume shots on net is going to translate into a bunch of goals because they have a tough time stopping them. So just shell the Kraken. Liam, do you have a short for giant key to victory for the game tonight?
Yeah, I do have one. It is to kind of go off what Jay said. Like, just kind of come out hot and heavy on them like you did last time. And, like, their goaltending is horrendous. Like, we witnessed it with Campbell early in the year, but he's getting a little bit better now. But, like, man, like, how is this team where they are? Like, it truly doesn't make sense. So, like, you have Draisaitl back now. Like, things should kind of be rolling a little bit. I'm very curious to see if Draisaitl plays with McDavid tonight. Like, coming back, first game back after, like, an injury, like, maybe ease back into things a little bit. I wonder if that'll happen. You're wearing your Neon Leon sweater today. The newest edition of the Neon Leon sweater, available at nationgear.ca. I also you have a new shirt underneath. A new shirt. I got this for Christmas. It is. Oh, it's red. It's just a banana. Oh, very good. I have a banana on my desk right now, Liam. Is it for me? No, actually. You see his eyes light up when you said that, though? I know. I shouldn't have told him. You should not have told him. It's like when you have a dog around, you say walk, right? You like spell it out. But that is a great shirt, Liam. You'll be rocking that today on a new episode of Oilers Nation Radio, which will drop later this afternoon. Someone was talking about the defensive effort from the Oilers. I actually think their defensive effort's been really good the last couple of games, and Darnell Nurse specifically has been starting to turn it around. So my little key to victory is to, hey, Darnell, keep it going. You're doing a good job. Give him a little pat on the back. He's starting to play some decent hockey, and that is very important for this Oilers blue line as well. So we're going to be hot in January. It just seems to be what we do. Hot in January. We're going to be
in Jasper in January as well. Shout out to our friends at Tourism Jasper. Our team for the annual pond hockey tournament is taking shape. Frank's all fired up. Was talking to him about that the other day. Crew is coming together. You can sign up your team, chehockey.com. Find out more. Come and join us. Why not? Yeah. We'll have a couple of beers together out at the JPL. It's a great time. We did it last year. We're going to have a watch party. We're going to be doing a giant pregame show from there as well. A lot going on. Shout out to Jasper.
Pond hockey in the mountains. It doesn't get more Canadian than that. Like,
that clean mountain air. Oh, it's the best.
I sleep good too.
As always, we're coming to you live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out, sportscloset.ca. Maybe you want to get a nice McDavid reverse retro. The Oilers can't win in them, but you always win when you check at the Sports Closet. Tonight, I'm laying coin on the Oilers. I think they're going to beat them. One of my daily face-off live bets of the game was Oilers puck line plus 160. I love it. It's juicy. I'm all over it. Liam, Betway. You nailed a Dylan Gunther goal last night.
I did. That felt good.
And Vegas on the money line.
You
had a perfect sweep.
It's a good start to the year.
Both were plus money?
Yeah, because Gunther was even and Vegas was plus 140.
You're heating up right before Vegas. I like it.
Ooh.
I'm getting ready.
Wait till we hit the craps table, my friend.
Are you a craps player?
Craps? Craps?
Yeah.
No. I just sit at the 21. What's that one called again?
Blackjack?
Yeah. Massive gambler.
Yeah, huge gambler. 21. All right, okay. We'll stick to the sports betting then because that's what you know best. What do you like tonight?
All right, Alex, swing them up here. I'm going to go with Oilers on the puck line. Plus 130.
Let's ride.
Plus 130.
I'll ride with you.
Yeah, and then I'm going with another spicy Connor McDavid night. I just think it's hilarious that he's 3+ points. He's only plus 162. Like, this guy is just absolutely nuts this season. The +2 was still minus money, and just 1 point was minus 700. So we'll stay away from those. But he torched them last time they went. Leon's back. You've got to imagine that power play is going to grab a couple of points.
Over 1.5 power play goals tonight. Why not?
Could be an option. So, yeah, there you go. McDavid to destroy the Seattle Kraken again, and the Oilers to win by the puck line.
I dig it. No Canada game tonight, but last night, they did not cover the 4.5 goal spread. It was much tighter than that against Slovakia. But what can you say about Connor Bedard? Like, Betway doesn't even put odds up for Bedard because how can you price it at this point? But what he's doing is unbelievable.
It is. It's like, it is the Connor Bedard show. Like, that man, he just took the team on his back in that overtime and just literally went through the entire team, undressed everyone, and scored the OT winner. But like, it's impressive to watch. But like, where I'm like concerned going deeper into the playoff rounds here, or the medal rounds, elimination rounds of the World Juniors, is just like Slovakia. You know, you got to give them credit. They played their hearts out. They were physically assertive. Like, they were in. Like, they had a game plan and they stuck to it, and they were able to keep up with Canada. But I also feel like it shouldn't have been as close as it was.
No, I mean, anytime a game's 55 to 20 something shots.
Yeah,
like,
they got goalie, but like, I just feel like it was so like a bit of a concern going deeper as they have better competition because they already lost to Czechia. Yeah, and that was a concern, but obviously that's in the round robin. But like, just tightening up as a unit, because it can't all be Connor Bedard. He was able to pull it off that game, but as we get deeper and deeper, it's going to be more challenging.
How about that goalie for Slovakia?
He's draft eligible, right?
Yeah, but he plays in like
he plays in the
junior B of the States, right?
Yeah, it essentially is equivalent to like him playing in the AJHL. So like what he's doing right now.
That's crazy.
And it's absolutely nuts. He was unreal yesterday. And the Bedard Sally was my favorite part though. The heartbreaker.
Patty Kane.
Yeah, just bang. Yeah, that was awesome. That was really cool.
Canada in action tomorrow against the USA in the semifinals. That'll be a darn good hockey game. One. But Connor Bedard setting records at the World Juniors, and
that guy's shot is insane.
The Chicago Blackhawks are doing everything they can to give themselves the best chance at that guy. They are
give us Jake
terrible.
McCabe. I don't know if I want him, but just give us retain everything, give us what you need, and you'll get Connor Bedard. I promise you.
So I did see some scout called him the best prospect since Crosby, which is insane because he's not the best prospect.
That's a slap in the face to McDavid.
It is. Frank, and we'll ask Frank about this tomorrow, but he has a friend who's a scout who said he is not quite generational. He's franchise superstar. So he's not McDavid, he's Matthews kind of thing. That makes sense. I buy that. I view him more as a Matthews type than as a McDavid type.
You think so?
Oh wow, that's because like
I
the
don't
thing
know.
with Bedard is he's a hybrid of both.
Yeah.
Like his shot is a weapon. Like you see him like he puts everything into every shot he takes, and he also can undress guys like McDavid.
Yeah.
Like so he's a hybrid of the two, if you ask me. But who are we kidding? Connor McDavid now is an elite goal scorer, so
Yeah, 100%.
he won't stop. Like was Connor's not like Connor's getting 60.
Yeah, my prediction was 4 awards for him this year. Hart, Rocket, Art Ross, Lindsay. He's going to win them all. He's going to have a clean sweep of the awards. Yeah.
That's such an interesting comparison that he's not a generational talent. Like I guess
like look at his like everything he does suggests like how he lights up junior, how he's just taking over the World Juniors. Like this is what generational players do.
Everything about him. Like there's been guys in like Western Canada who've kind of been like, oh, this guy's the next guy, this guy's the next guy, and they've all fallen off, and the only one that hasn't is Connor Bedard. He's the only one.
Even to an extent like Shane Wright. Like that guy who heading into 2 years before his draft year is like, oh, that's the Shane Wright draft. And then his draft year, he fizzled out a little bit. And you're right. Connor Bedard's not fizzling out at all.
Matthew Savoy.
Yeah, he was another one. He's
a great player, but he didn't get invited to the World Junior Camp this year.
Yeah.
Bedard's just been the whole way there. And like you said, like, look at the numbers. He has 20. Did McDavid do this to the World Juniors? Like,
No,
I do not
isn't
remember this
crazy.
at all. Like, he's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's wild. Canada, USA tomorrow. Edmonton, Seattle tonight, 7 o'clock down at Rogers Place.
One last thing. Did you see how Florida may have traded, like when they acquired Ben Sherratt, it might lead to them losing out on Connor Bedard. So it's an unprotected first round pick, and they have like pretty good odds to get first overall right now. And they might have missed him.
They're brutal. Like Florida might not. They're 24th, so like the odds are still like slim. It's like 5% when you're down there. But they're like, based on points percentage, they're actually a little bit lower than that. They've been terrible, and it's getting to the point where like the math almost doesn't line up at all for the Panthers to get into the playoffs. They have 36 points. The final playoff spot is 44, but the Kraken have played more games than everyone in front of them. Or sorry, the Panthers have played more games than everyone in front of them. Like Florida might legitimately miss this year. That's wild.
Wow.
That's why you don't give up absolutely everything for like 1 year.
Yeah,
There's
it's
ways to do it.
It's a cautionary tale.
Yeah,
It absolutely is. And they also, clearly didn't have a great summer, giving up 2 important pieces for Tkachuk. Tkachuk hasn't been the problem, I suppose, but just not a lot going right this year in Florida. We're going to go around the NHL tomorrow, like I said, with Frank. Score predictions for tonight. I know people were dropping them into the chat. I'm going to say the Oilers win 6-2.
I was going to say 5-2.
5-2. Liam, what do you got?
5-2 empty net power play goal.
Sneak that one in, hey? Sneak that one in. All right, that's going to be a wrap on today's Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. Shout out Sherwood Ford, Sports Closet, and Betway 19+. Please play responsibly, as well as Soho. Check them out tonight. It is a game day. They got great specials, including half-price wings. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for helping us hit our like goal. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, noon Mountain.